This is the new Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness, Subaru's latest entry in their Wilderness line of vehicles, and their latest attempt to convince you that you're one outdoor adventure away from being Bear Grylls. It's got 9.3 inches of ground clearance, a skid plate, all-terrain tires, loads of protective body cladding, and some gold bling. And this adorable little thing looks like it's ready for any adventure you throw at it. Is this a factory-built battle wagon? Today, let's take it on a long drive and on a road trip adventure to find out. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the term battle wagon, no, it's not that red wagon you see every dad carting around their screaming toddlers. No, a battle wagon is a station wagon or a hatchback that's been lifted, outfitted with off-road tires, and usually some accessories. And they're built for tackling tough terrain. They usually look totally rad, and most of the time, they're Subarus. Heck, even I had a Subaru battle wagon that I used for the Gambler 500 Rally. It was a very capable machine. And a capable battle wagon is pretty much what we have here, but it's actually built like this from the factory. And unlike those off-road appearance packages that come with some vehicles, the Wilderness actually has some substance to it. So both the Outback and the Forester have received the Wilderness treatment, and now the Crosstrek gets these upgrades. So yes, some of these upgrades are purely aesthetic, like the huge Crosstrek badging, Wilderness emblems, gold accents on the roof rack, bumpers and steering wheel, orange stitching on the seats, and a humongous embossed Subaru logo on this rear bumper. But there are a bunch of tangible upgrades here over the standard Crosstreks. Instead of 8.7 inches of ground clearance, we have 9.3. The suspension is also exclusive to this package with more travel in the shock absorbers. It gets an upgraded dual function X-Mode all-wheel drive system. It's fitted with Yokohama Geolander all-terrain tires wrapped around some cool looking alloy wheels. We've got a blacked out hood here to reduce glare, and the front and rear bumpers have been revised to improve the approach and departure angle, and the breakover angle has also been increased. We get bumped up to a 3,500 pound towing capacity, although a tow hitch is only a dealer installed option. The roof rack has been strengthened to hold more weight. We get water resistant upholstery. Oh, and rubber floor mats. So what do you think of this exterior design? I kinda love it. I'm a big fan of lifted wagons, and that's essentially what we've got here. This sun blaze pearl color is awesome. Thanks Subaru for offering a fun color in a world filled with bland monochromatic crossovers. Though I will say this orange color somewhat clashes with the gold accents. At first I low-key hated that, but after living with it for a week, I've grown to dig the incongruity. And yes, we are nearing Pontiac Aztec levels of body cladding here. I don't think this is just for looks, it also serves a purpose here. If you happen to damage one of these panels while on the trail, they should probably be easy and cheap to replace since they're unpainted. So once you're inside this Crosstrek, you're greeted with a very functional interior. It's not beautiful, it's not luxurious, but it does what you need it to do. And Subaru is pretty good at ergonomics, so everything's where you expect it to be. So one thing that's specific to this Crosstrek are these seats that are coated with this water-resistant material. And I got to put these to the test because my daughter spilled her water in the seat in the back, and it did not soak through, just wiped away with a cloth. They're also embossed with this Subaru Wilderness logo in the headrest. The seats are heated, but they are not ventilated. Now these are vegan leather, and they've got this gold stitching on them, and they are pretty comfortable. So with this car, we have the optional moonroof, the Harman Kardon stereo system, and this driver's side power seat. And this one is 10-way adjustable. I'm 6'3", and I have plenty of headroom in here, even with this moonroof, and a good amount of legroom too. Aside from the gold bling, we got a pretty standard Subaru steering wheel with paddle shifters in the back. And the gauges, they are very simple and easy to read. Actual analog gauges here with a screen in the middle where you can view different settings. Got some carbon fiber-ish looking material here on the dash and the doors. Some soft touch materials on the doors, which I really like. Got a wireless charging pad for your phone down there. We got 3 ports down here, USB-C, USB-A, and an aux jack. Actually, I don't usually see aux jacks on cars anymore. It's kind of nice to have that here. Pretty standard physical control for the gear shift. 2 kind of smallish cup holders fit your water bottle there or your kids' toys. And then a relatively small center console. Actually, pretty decent sized door pockets for water bottles or your kids' crap. All right, moving on to this sort of singular center screen that we've got going on here. This controls everything from your radio to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to all of your HVAC functions, air conditioning, heating, that kind of stuff. You'll notice that there are very few physical controls for your heat and your air conditioning. You do have buttons right here where you can turn up and down the temperature, turn on your front defrost and your rear defrost. This is a dual zone system, as you can see. And you do have these sort of ever-present controls down here on the screen for turning your system on and off. You can adjust the fan speed down here with this touch screen. But generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of systems that put everything on the screen because a lot of times it's hard to find the button without looking at the screen. So I'm glad they at least have physical controls for the temperature right here. And now if you press this right here, now you have all your individual controls for your heat and air conditioning and all that stuff. You can recirculate buttons hidden in this menu. And while this is very functional, once again, you have to take your eyes off the road to use this. All right, so once you're back on this main menu here, you have access to your radio, to your phone, to Apple CarPlay, car info. So let's go to the radio. I kind of like this setup, but as you can see, it's kind of slow and a little bit laggy. Everything works really well. It just seems to respond a little bit slower than I would have expected, but it's not a big deal. And of course, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And the nice thing is, as you can see, I do not have my phone plugged in right now, so it is a wireless setup. So in terms of music, you do have a physical volume control and a tune control, which I really like. So this screen is also where you access things like your X mode. So right now it's in normal, but this is where you can select the different modes for snow and dirt and deep snow and mud. So right over here, if we go home and we click on car info, now you can get info on your pitch and your yaw, so you can see what angle you're currently at. Very useful when you're climbing hills off-road. So yeah, overall, I really do like being in here. There's a couple minor annoyances with having everything on that screen, but it's something that you do get used to after a while. All right, let's check out the back seat. All right, here we are in the back, and my first impression is it's not so bad in terms of space. I wouldn't want to sit 3 people back here, 3 adults back here, but if you just had 2, I'd say that'd be perfectly fine. I guess I would say I have just enough headroom in here, and the legroom is pretty decent too, considering that I have my seat in the front set for myself. If I sit up really straight, yeah, my head kind of touches the ceiling back here, but if I slouch a little bit, I'm fine. And as you can see, my daughter's car seat fits back here without an issue. We do have 2 USB ports back here, but we do not have any vents. Got a couple cup holders if you don't have anybody sitting in the middle. It's plain, it's functional, but it works. So out back, no, we don't have a power lift gate, but that's fine. Down here, we do have this fancy rubber mat, which is kind of a nice feature. We get 20 cubic feet of space back here, which is decent. And check this out, some cup holders in the back. That's pretty neat. Got this cover right here. And if we take this out and fold down these rear seats, and now we've expanded our cargo space to 54.9 cubic feet. And that's not a ton, but it's decent for a little wagon, small crossover kind of thing. And underneath this cool rubber mat, there is an actual spare tire. That's kind of nice to have. It's not a full-size spare, but it's something. A lot of new vehicles don't even give you a spare anymore. And here is the eyelet for the tow hook. You pull this off right here. Now you can screw in this eyelet in case you need to get towed out of a sticky situation. And whatever won't fit inside your Crosstrek Wilderness can go on the strengthened roof rack, which can hold a 700-pound static load or a 176-pound dynamic load. So I've mentioned this in plenty of my other videos, but I think when it comes to safety, one of the most important things that you can think about in terms of safety is how easy is it to see out of the vehicle. And in the case here, it's really excellent. You got very large side windows. This isn't blocked by a panel. You actually have some glass there and really good visibility out the front. And of course, this is a relatively small vehicle and you can pretty easily tell where the front of the car is. Then view out the rear side is pretty decent. View out the back isn't the best because it's got kind of a small window, but again, this is a small vehicle, so it's not too terribly difficult to gauge where the back of your car is. So Subaru equips the Crosstrek Wilderness with its latest version of the camera-based eyesight safety system, and includes things like forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, that kind of fun stuff. And it all works really well. I haven't had any issues there. Now it's very nice that Subaru includes a very comprehensive suite of driver aids and safety tech in this vehicle, which will undoubtedly help us avoid collisions. But we do need to remind ourselves that 43,000 100,000 people are killed on US roads every year, and I think we all need to try to do our part to reduce that number. And one of the best ways that we can all do that is to drive more safely, drive more slowly, and be a lot more cautious, especially at intersections. And one really great thing about the Crosstrek is that it's not a gigantic vehicle. Like I said, very easy to see out the front, and you don't have a whole bunch of gigantic blind spots like you would in a large SUV. There are quite a few SUVs sold today where you can barely see out the back, or you have absolutely no idea where the front of your vehicle is because it's so far in front of you. Okay, enough talking about this interior and this safety tech. Let's head out on our trip through these beautiful mountains just outside of Los Angeles and make our way towards Rover Flats, a fun off-road playground where we can put this Crosstrek Wilderness through its paces. Let's go. So under the hood is Subaru's 2.5 liter Boxer 4-cylinder motor, churning out 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque. And that's mated to a continuously variable transmission with a revised 4.11 final drive, which should give you a bit more pep off the line versus the standard Crosstrek. And all 182 of those horses are routed to Subaru's all-wheel drive system, which features dual X mode. So it doesn't really feel all that quick, about 8.5 seconds to 60 miles per hour, but I'd say it gives you enough power and speed for most everyday driving situations. So in back here, you've got paddle shifters. I never really quite understand why you have paddle shifters on a CVT because it's sort of like virtual shifting, but I guess if you need to hold higher RPMs when coming down a hill in like the snow or something, that could be kind of useful. You also get Subaru's SI drive mode down here. You got S for sport and I for intelligent. I'm just gonna leave it on intelligent because I'm guessing this car is smarter than I am. The ride is pretty good. I don't think you really compromise that much in terms of comfort on a paved road. Yeah, there's more body movement around corners. You can feel more lean, and when you brake hard, you can feel a little bit more nosedive. Just a little bit more than on a standard Crosstrek, but overall it's pretty decent on pavement. But with that lift and these all-terrain tires, the fuel economy does take a bit of a hit. It's not the best, 25 city and 29 highway. There is a little bit of a compromise that you need to make to have this off-road capability. But those compromises are pretty small in my opinion. The handling is decent. It's really quiet in here. You get all the driver tech that you might want. So the nice thing about having all of this body cladding and those sparkly gold accents and those wilderness badges is that it constantly reminds you that you need to get out of your traffic-filled city and off to some remote locations. So I think it's a good idea that we go and try to do that right now. So we're just outside of Los Angeles in the mountains here at Rover Flat OHV area. And I've been here with a few other vehicles and it's always a ton of fun. It's not the most difficult terrain, but there are a few areas that could challenge this Crosstrek, so we'll see if we can find those. So there are quite a few vehicles that are marketed with people bombing down dirt trails like this one. And honestly, 98% of those vehicles will spend most of their miles on nicely manicured asphalt. But when it comes to Subarus, I'm inclined to believe that these will travel on dirt roads much more than vehicles from other brands. Their all-wheel drive systems are great off-road, and that's one of the reasons why I chose a Subaru Legacy, albeit an old one, for the Gambler 500 Rally. So right through this section, I'm pretty glad that we have that extra ground clearance. Now, this is not like rock crawling or anything like that, but there are some pretty serious rocks sticking out here. Yeah, this is not too difficult yet, but it's doing a great job so far. So essentially, X mode changes the transmission, throttle, and torque distribution calibrations for all different types of terrain. And now this is a clutch-based system. It uses wheel braking to stop a wheel from spinning, and it sends the power to the wheels that have the most grip. So this is a different X mode that's found in the standard Crosstrek. There are some changes that give you some more braking capability at each wheel. And when you go past 25 miles an hour, it beeps at you because that's when the system cuts off. So X mode really is more reserved for those slow speed obstacles. So there is a little bit more of a challenging section right here. This doesn't look too terribly bad from the view of a GoPro, but this is a very steep drop leading up to a very steep incline. All right, so let's put this X mode to the test. Now there's other vehicles that I've taken up this road where I've bottomed out right here. I don't expect to do that in this Crosstrek. If I take it nice and slow, we're just gonna power up this hill. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. There we go, there we go. We're doing it, we're doing it. Oh, that was a piece of cake for this thing. I just needed to give it a little bit more throttle. That is pretty impressive. Nice job, little Crosstrek. All right, so let's talk about hill descent control. When you engage X mode, it also activates hill descent control when you're going less than 12 miles an hour. So the computers control the vehicle speed, and it adds a bit of a safety net on a steep grade like this one. And it means I can spend my time just avoiding huge rocks and ruts without having to really worry about braking. So let's check this out. All right, let's go. It is extremely strange to let your foot off the brake when you're going down a steep grade like this. But it just kind of does it. It's pretty impressive. You can hear the system groaning. I'm getting wheels in the air, and we're at the bottom. That was really impressive. Climb back out of here. That is so cool. It is a very strange experience the first time you've used hill descent control, but this car did a great job of figuring that out. All right, let's turn around and do that one more time because this is like a dirt road playground. I've got a Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. I could spend all day doing this. All right, here we go. I think I came up at a different angle. It's having a little bit more trouble this time, but it did it. It just powered through that. Oh my God, that was so much fun. It's very difficult to wipe the smile off my face right now because I'm surprised that it did that. I was just teetering on two wheels and it still made it. Well, let's go down this little narrow track right here and see what's on the other side. Oh yeah, this is very narrow. I think we just barely fit through here. And actually, that's kind of one of the things I love about this Crosstrek is that its small size really sort of lends it to allowing you to get into places that a big like Chevy truck or something wouldn't be able to get to. And it just kind of makes it a little bit more fun to drive. Now there's one little section over here that I'm going to attempt. I don't think I'm going to make it all the way up because this is extremely challenging and it's generally reserved for off-road Jeeps, that kind of thing. But it would be interesting to see how far we can make it up this grade. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. You can hear the system groaning and grinding, making our way up this treacherous terrain. And it's just powering through, yeah. It takes a second for it to figure out where to send the power, but it's making our way up here. Oh my goodness, this is impressive. All right, so we've made it to this rocky section. We are definitely not making it past this. So we are gonna slowly back down this hill. And yes, the hill descent control does work in reverse. So yeah, we didn't make it up that hill today, but I think we probably could have had I'd aired down the tires or maybe had some help here to guide me around the best way through those rocks. But yeah, seriously impressive. Also good to note, we have a pretty decent backup camera here. Kind of wish we had a camera on the front. Okay, let's talk price. This new Crosstrek Wilderness starts at just over 33 grand after destination charge. This one with the power seat, stereo, and moonroof option package comes to $35,560. If you're looking at this, you might consider a Bronco Sport Badlands, which looks pretty cool but is more expensive. You might also consider the Jeep Compass Trailhawk, but that's pricier too. While this Crosstrek Wilderness is far below the average new car price of like 50 grand, it seems a touch pricey for a small wagon, but it does give you a whole load of capability. And honestly, this Crosstrek Wilderness will probably tackle just about anything that you can throw at it. I really love this little battle wagon. It's a ton of fun in the dirt, it's easy to live with, and I think it would make a really great daily driver. What do you think? If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon, or you can help support the channel and buy a Hello Road t-shirt at helloroad.tv/shop. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're well, and I'll see you soon.